my wife, who's been tormented over the last few months with me coming home and belaboring every problem that we've had at the museum, said to me on the way here, you know, it's time for the happy speech. So this is the happy speech, everyone. This is the speech that I get to give after 5 long years of my stewardship of this museum, which I've been so privileged and honored to be entrusted with. This is the speech where I get to thank everybody, and I'm just so happy that we've reached this stage. Let me say that again. We have a working, operating museum. I'll start then by thanking our wonderful board of directors. First of all, my other executive officers, Vice President Perla Carney, Treasurer Beth Keene, and Secretary John Keene. And we have, I wanted to point out, we have a lot of board members, and they're all here tonight, so I'd like them to stand up as I call out their names. So besides Perla and Beth and John, who should stand up, we have Miriam Bell, Lydia Woodgore, who isn't with us tonight, but she's home, hopefully recuperating, Andrea Caton, Claire Firestone, Renee Firestone, Edith Frankie, Richard Frankie, David Goldfarb, Jonah Goldrich, where's Jonah? Blanca Hadar, Stanley Candell, Marie Kaufman, Masha Lowen, who's unfortunately ill tonight, but hopefully will be recovered very soon. Gregory McKay, Dr. Harvey Martz, Harvey, stand up, Paulette Nessim, Avi Peretz, Frank Schiller, and Dana Schwartz. Everybody on the staff, Mark on down, come on up. If you have worked on the staff during the last 5 years, come on up. It's not just Mark. Where's everybody else? Jody, Amy, sure, Rachel. There we go, there they are. Sarah, Vlad, Georg, Joanna, Daniela, Jennifer. So I'm going to open up one of these. When I finish an impossible task, I like to press this button. And so I'm going to proudly present to each of our staff members this button. It says, "That was easy." Did you hear that? I'll try it again. That was easy. That was easy, which of course it was not. So let me present that to our staff. I want to point out that this new building that we have would not have been possible without the very early commitment secured by our board member, Miriam Bell, from her friend John Martz, after whom we have named the building. Unfortunately, John Martz passed away earlier this year, and I think we all, in his memory, should think about him, because he was the very first who committed a really substantial gift to this museum that made us all think that this museum might be possible. I also want to thank Jonah Goldrich, who has been really the rock behind me this entire time as I forged ahead on this impossible task of building our museum. Now, he promised me that he couldn't pay for it, he didn't have the money, that it was too expensive, he had other commitments, but in the end, he did very substantially contribute to this museum, and it simply would not exist without him. So thank you very much, Jonah Goldrich. This is maybe a time where I should point out that behind every man there is also a woman, and I want to thank Doretta for also allowing us. It reminds me of Pam, I did mention you, but I didn't thank you. So I'm going to thank now my wife, Pam, who also stood behind me. We have many, many large donors. You're all here. I want to thank you all. I'm not going to mention everybody's names, but without all of you and your contributions, we could not have gone forward with this museum. We did not begin construction of this museum until we were sure that we had the money to pay for it. Now, sure, it cost more in the end, and we raised some more money to finish it, but we could not have started this without all of your commitments to this museum. Okay, so on to the architects. Rachel Jagoda Lithgow, who was the director before Mark, said she remembers when Hagi came in with a little napkin sketch of what this museum is, and that she couldn't believe this week that she was actually standing in the napkin inside the sketch. We have a remarkable building, and so can we thank Hagi Belsberg and his team, including Aaron. I'd like to thank also, and I did this on Thursday too, the builders, because it's one thing to dream up a building, it's one thing to raise the money for a building, it's another thing to actually, with your hands, create a building. And the people at Winter Schram, where's the Winter Schram table? I should have a map here. There we go. Me and invited me to join the museum board, where I met people like Freddie Diamond, who I remember very well, and Felicia Haberfeld, two of our board members who didn't quite make it all the way to the end. Marcia and her enthusiasm for this museum infected me, basically, and made me a convert to this museum. And it's the reason that I agreed when Gary Schiller asked me to take over as his successor, that I agreed to do that, because I felt I owed it to Marcia and to Gary and to all of the people that I had met on the board to carry their dream through. Marcia and I have curated the inside of the exhibit, and we've been able to do that with the help not only of Hagi Belsberg and his team, including Aaron Lepinen and Lauren Zuzak, but also we had the help of Miles Kemp of Variant Labs and his wife, Elisa Garcia. They came up with all of the neat stuff in the museum. If you go down and you see that smart table with all the pictures or the interactive screens or the audio guide, that was really Miles's idea, and he carried it through with the help. Also, I'm not sure if anybody's here, of a company called Potion in New York, and they've done a fabulous, fabulous job. So I want to conclude, as I did on Thursday, for those of you who weren't there, by talking about my impressions from last week. Last Sunday we opened our doors to the general public. We had been conducting test tours for a while, but we opened our doors to the general public for pretty much the first time. And one of the very first people waiting to enter at 12 noon was a woman, a Latina woman from Mission Hills with her 10-year-old daughter, just in 5th grade. And she went in and they got the audio guide and they started going through the museum. And I think it was Marcia Giuseppe who first walked up and asked, what were they doing there? How did they hear about the museum that had been open for all of 5 minutes? And the woman said that her daughter had been in a class with a teacher who talked a little bit about the Holocaust, and the daughter had asked her, what is this thing about the Holocaust? Can I learn some more about it? So the mother helped her daughter by going online, and she was looking actually to go to the other museum on Pico. And she discovered, thanks to Google placement, I guess, our new museum website. And she found out that we had a new museum that was opening in a few weeks, and so she decided to wait with her daughter and not go to the other museum, but to come and be one of the first visitors at our museum. And if you had seen this little girl with her headphones and her pad and pen in hand, going through our exhibits, studying them, writing things down, taking notes, you would understand, as we all understand, I think, why we do this, why we're all here today to support our museum. There is a thirst for knowledge about the Holocaust. It is, as we all know, the worst catastrophe in the history of mankind, without question, without qualification. And there is an endless supply of young people in Los Angeles, in California, in the United States, in the world, who need to learn about this, who need to be taught. And what you have done in making our museum possible is you've allowed those people to learn, the ones who need to learn, the ones who want to learn. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you. Thank you.